Hello, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be talking about home ownership. Whether you're about to be one, whether you're already a homeowner, there are definitely costs you need to be prepared for. Owning a home is one of the biggest dreams many of us have, so we want to be prepared for any of those hidden costs that can sneak up on you. We're talking about those unexpected expenses that are not so fun that come with the joys of home ownership. So today we're diving into those hidden costs of being a homeowner so that you can be fully prepared and not get caught off guard. So trust me, you want to stick around for all of this. Before you even actually own your home, you're going to have some costs with closing on your home. So you can be prepared that these can add up pretty quickly, especially if you're getting a mortgage. So it's important to factor those into your budget with your down payment. Some of those include, as a buyer, inspection fees, appraisal fees, title search fees, and attorney fees to prepare deeds, transfer taxes, setting your escrow up for taxes and insurance. So just be prepared for those costs on top of your down payment. You're also probably going to have moving costs, costs to set up utilities. All of those go along with other than the actual cost of the mortgage. So be prepared for those closing costs when you get ready to close on your home. One of the things that you'll be setting up in your escrow account is your property taxes. And these can be one of the biggest expenses beside your actual mortgage payment. And they can widely vary depending on where you live, within the country, within the state, within the city, if you have acreage, if you're on the lake. So property taxes could potentially go up every year because they do a countywide reappraisal, and so that all the properties are in line with the market. One thing that you can do to stop that from happening is to lock in your taxes if you're over 65. If you're a disabled veteran, you don't have to pay any taxes. And there's also the homestead credit that you want to make sure that you file for, that in Arkansas that's going up to $500 in 2025. So you do want to make sure that you get that credit to help you with these property taxes. So what's tricky is that they can go up after year, so it's kind of hard to budget them, but you do want to do your best to maintain them, and so you don't get the house going back to taxes. So if you have an escrow account, that's helpful because the mortgage company is making sure that those taxes are paid by you paying them every month with your house payment. Now, if you bought your house cash, keep in mind that you can either just budget for it and have it set aside so that when the bill comes that you can go ahead and pay it. But also know that these courthouses in our area, they will accept payments. You can do monthly payments. They prefer quarterly payments or annually payments, but they will take monthly payments. So if you're not a person that can necessarily hold on to your money until that bill is due, just be aware that that is an option for you to do monthly payments if you don't have that escrow account set up. Homeowners association fees, these can be a surprise for many first-time home buyers. If you're moving into a condo or a certain neighborhood, you may have to pay monthly or yearly HOA fees. And these are going to go towards maintaining some common areas like landscaping, the pools, the community centers, things like that. Now, we don't have a lot of HOA fees in our area, but there are select areas that do have HOA fees, like the townhouses and the manor homes and some of the POA fees that are on the Hardy Lakes. So do be aware that they are in our area, but lots of people in our area get our SID fees confused with HOA fees. SID fees are billed annually with your county taxes, and they are to maintain the lakes and golf courses in towns like Horseshoe Bend, Ozark Acres, and Cherokee Village. Now, these SID fees are not HOA fees. They don't have additional restrictions, but they are on top of your county taxes. So you just want to be aware of that. And additionally, that homestead credit I mentioned earlier, it cannot be taken off of the SID fees. So if your county taxes on your home are only $300, you still have to pay the SID fee. So make sure you're aware that that is an additional cost, and make sure that you're getting the total tax cost, especially if you're buying multiple lots in one of those areas that has the SID fees. It can really add up if you have multiple lots, and if you're on the lake, they're higher there. So just make sure that you're budgeting, whether it is SID fees or HOA fees. I know in the area here in the Townhouse Association, you can also pay those monthly to the HOA, or you can pay annually. So it does help you budget for that. But also be aware that those can go up if they have any major expenses that need to be covered. Like if, for example, they recently had to remodel a pool and they had to do the heat and air in the pool. And so they have recently raised those HOA fees in the townhouse areas. So make sure that you allow for that in your budget as well. The other thing that's going to be in your escrow if you get a mortgage is your home insurance. Again, home insurance is usually an annual fee when it comes to homeowners. A lot of insurance companies, for whatever reason, don't really allow you to pay that by month unless you're doing it through your escrow, then you can pay by month. But you've already paid a year ahead is why you can do that, because you pay that year ahead, usually sometimes a year and 2 months ahead at closing. So you're always going to be a year ahead when you go to pay that. When they go to pay that bill, they're going to have a whole year in the escrow account to pay. Now keep in mind, again, insurance can go up. We've had a lot of natural disasters recently, and that can cause the insurance companies to have a lower bottom line, and so that they have to make it up somewhere. Those hurricanes and floods and wildfires are all really affecting all of us, even if we didn't make a claim. But now this homeowner's insurance is going to protect you from fires and break-ins, and since it's a homeowner's policy, it covers not only the dwelling, the actual roof and structures of the property, it also covers your personal belongings, but you want to make sure that you see that itemized on your insurance coverage when you sign up for it. And those premiums often can be discounted if you use the same company with your auto and your home and anything else. You also maybe want to have insurance on your personal property if you're on the lake and you want to get your boat insured. So just keep in mind that that can be escrowed. If you did buy that cash, you're probably going to have to figure on budgeting that for an annual expense. So you're probably going to have to set that aside, because normally, like I said, home insurance companies don't want that as a monthly payment. So that's another cost to be aware of. The other thing that you want to consider when you're thinking of a homeowner's budget is maintenance and repairs. Everyone thinks about the fun parts of home ownership, but not enough people can see the regular maintenance and repairs. There's going to be the big things like the roof and the heating and air, but there's also going to be those little things that pop up a lot, like leaky faucets and a light fixture that doesn't work. Those can add up quickly as well. So on average, homeowners can expect to pay 1 to 3% in repairs annually. So that would give you just a starting point for your budget if you wanted to set that aside and get that emergency fund going. So like on a $300,000 home, that would be $3,000 to $9,000 a year just to keep everything running smoothly. And you do want to make sure that you are able to do this, because if you let that maintenance issues stack up, it can really cause problems in your home. If you don't get that roof leak fixed, then you got to fix the ceiling. If you go down the walls, if you don't fix the leaky faucet, then you're going to have to replace the cabinet. So it can really stack up. And so you do want to make sure that you have those funds set aside as you are a homeowner. That is why it's usually recommended that you have an emergency fund before you buy a home, so that when those things do pop up, that you're able to fix them and you don't have to stress out about how am I going to have money to make my house payment and fix this issue. So just that's another thing you want to be aware of, is any maintenance and repairs. Now let's talk about utilities. When you're renting, some utilities may have been included in your rent, but as a homeowner, you're on the hook for all of it. We're talking electricity and water and gas and garbage and internet, maybe even cable. And if you have a larger home, you see those bills increase even more. So many people underestimate how much they'll actually be spending on utilities each month. So a good idea to do it when you're getting the process of buying is to ask the homeowners what their average bill, and probably in the hottest and the coldest month, if you're in an area like us where we have 4 seasons, you want to get an idea of what the worst is, and then if you plan for that for the whole year, you'll be well ahead. Now some companies will allow you to get this information directly from them, the utility companies, but others are like, well, that's privacy information, so they won't necessarily share it. So don't be upset with them if they don't share it. Hopefully the homeowner will be able to give you that information. But I do want you to take it with a grain of salt, because just because that's how much they spend, it might not be how much you spend. If you buy a 4-bedroom home because you want a bunch of space, but there's only you, and they had 10 kids, that's obviously going to be more water usage, probably more electric usage, because all of the lights are in the house on at the same time, and you have to heat and cool more space. So just take into consideration that everybody uses water, electric, and gas differently, but that at least will give you a starting point to plan for utilities. And when you're figuring out your mortgage cost, you want to make sure that you're factoring that into it too, because that is definitely a monthly expense that you should be expecting. Now around here, the garbage is a quarterly expense instead of monthly. And propane oftentimes is only like a once or twice a year expense because you're just filling up the tank for the season. But do be aware that if you do get into those extreme months, the coldest months and the hottest month, you're obviously going to expect to see a higher bill because your house has to work that much harder to keep it the way that you want it. A big yard is a dream for many, but keeping it looking good is a different story. Whether you hire someone to do it or tackle it yourself, landscaping can be a significant ongoing expense. There's lawn care and tree trimming and planting new shrubs, making sure everything looks picture perfect, maybe even cleaning out the gutters for all that stuff from those things gets cleaned out and doesn't cause problems with your roof. Now, some people might be okay with mowing the lawn, but climbing a tree to cut branches might be a little bit out of their league. So if you're in an area that experiences drought or extreme cold, that might even mean more work because you might have more shoveling and snow, and so that can add up for more costs. Now, over time, landscaping can drain a decent amount from your budget, especially if you're trying to boost your home's curb appeal, if you're getting ready to sell it, or if you just want to fit into the neighborhood. Now, additional thing to think about is if you are having a vacation home or a second home, this is definitely something that you want to budget for. If you're living in the home, it's probably not going to be as big as expense because you probably can handle most of it yourself. If it's something out of your hands, like me, when I have a black thumb, then I would have to hire someone to do any planting or any bush or tree work. So that would be something that you would have to budget for. But hopefully that you can maintain it mostly on yourself. Again, this would fall under HOA fees if you're in the townhouses. But I just want to make sure you're planning for all these things when you get into the home ownership and actually budgeting for all these hidden costs. So there you have it, the hidden costs of owning a home that nobody really talks about. From property taxes to insurance to maintenance, even yard care. These expenses can add up fast, but the more prepared you are, the less stress you'll feel. And then those bills start rolling in and it's okay because you got that emergency fund. Owning a home is amazing, but it's important to go into it with your eyes wide open. If I forgot something that should be on this list, make sure to tell me in the comments and get everyone in on the loop. If you want to dive deeper into insurance costs, check out this video I did, When to Buy Home Insurance. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.